The combination of talent in this film was enough to pique my interest. And if the movie could deliver on the story that the trailers were promising with all the talent involved, I believed this could be an Oscar contender. Does Roman J. Israel Esquire deliver on a thought-provoking, emotional, legal thriller? Or are we going to need to throw the book at this film? Let's dive in and take a look in this review. Denzel Washington is enough to pique my interest to see a film when his name is attached to it. But then you add two people like Dan Gilroy and Colin Farrell, and you definitely have my attention. So with all the talent involved, I'm both curious and excited to see the story unfold. However, the story does get a bit challenging even unto itself. And the film primarily deals with Roman J. Israel Esquire, as the title suggests, played by Denzel Washington. Now this looks at his kind of day-to-day life, who he is as a lawyer and an attorney, what his role is at his legal practice, and it also kind of alludes to the fact, or more clearly states that he's kind of like a legal savant, which makes it a little bit challenging for him when he has to deal face-to-face with individuals and his kind of grasping their logic and the way they think and process certain aspects of the law. And it's this unique personality that Denzel has as Roman J. Israel Esquire that made the ending more sad for me than it did shocking, as I believe the ending was intended to be. And finally, with regards to the trailer, they don't really paint an accurate picture of who Roman is at his core. They kind of just give us a very high-level overview of who his character is, but who he actually is much more complex, and Denzel delivers a very deep and moving performance in this particular role. Now, there is one line of dialogue that Denzel states over and over as Roman, and that is while he's going through these cases in court, he keeps bringing up mitigating circumstances. Can we talk about a mitigating circumstance? Is there a mitigating circumstance? Mitigating circumstance. I am moved to believe that this is actually part of the theme of the movie, even though that's really not touched on in the trailers. And because I believe that this concept of mitigating circumstances is part of the theme of the overall movie and part of the plot, I believe that speaks to more of what happens with Roman J. Israel Esquire's character with regards to him breaking his own code of honor, also which does break the law, more than this film is an examination or an indictment against the American legal system. We actually get a well thought out and a well delivered look at how the legal system isn't so much about justice, but it is more an idea of numbers, win versus loss ratios, and percentage of cases closed and moved. So in all, the justice system is about numbers, not justice. Also, we get a brief look at kind of why cases actually never go to court, and the back and forth dialogue between the lawyers actually explaining what happens, why it happens, and why most of these cases never get a jury of their peers. And while all of this is delivered in a very thought-filled and well-developed manner, it's actually the ending of the film that gave me pause and actually had me thinking more about what the movie was and was supposed to be than all of the legal jargon that took place throughout. So the movie begins with Roman losing his business partner of many years and kind of what his role is in that partnership. We find out that Roman is highly intelligent, but he is very socially awkward. Again, leaning more towards that legal savant. And when you have that savant personality, it does present some challenges when you're dealing with people face to face. And as the movie progresses, we also find out that Roman has a really big heart for people and a really big heart for justice. And at one point, he was actually a social justice warrior who was trying to make an impact before joining this private practice with his now deceased partner. And it's the death of his partner that actually throws his life into turbulent waters, and we see him making decisions he wouldn't normally make because the conditions he's in are so unfamiliar to him. He doesn't really know how to grasp and process what is going on. And the story is written well enough that they actually address that at one point with Colin Farrell's character, actually telling Roman to his face that he realizes what Roman's going through is new and unfamiliar territory, and it's actually his fault for putting Roman in those positions to kind of heighten the stress of Roman's day-to-day life. And that definitely got a thumbs up for me in the theater. But it's during this difficult and turbulent time of his life where Roman actually goes and breaks his personal code of honor, which at the same time is breaking the law because he is trying to exact some form of street justice. And it's that action of street justice that actually flips his life upside down, and he experiences a completely different life all the way until the very end of the film, which actually turns out to be his undoing. But again, Because of his personality and what we see from his personality, I saw the ending more as a sad statement than a shocking statement. Spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. We're going to talk about the ending. So part of what Roman does when he breaks his code of honor is actually sends a man to prison. And while he's in prison, he finds out that it was Roman's fault. And he has a friend on the outside actually track Roman down and shoot him in the head. And I believe this final moment was actually meant to shock the audience. But again, for me personally, knowing the character of Roman and how he is socially awkward and how he's kind of a savant, it made it more sad and depressing for me personally. I wasn't like, oh my gosh, that just happened. I was like, oh man, that just happened. So going back to that savant personality that we keep bringing up in this review, and going back to the mitigating circumstance that we discussed earlier in this review, I believe the mitigating circumstance was actually Roman himself because of his disability. The final act of shooting a guy in the head goes from shooting a bad guy doing bad things in the head to shooting a mentally disabled person in the head. And for me personally, it completely flipped the story around and made me go, oh, that was glum. So did he break the law in this movie? Did he deserve that bullet? It's all part of the mitigating circumstance that was Roman's life. He was a mentally challenged person who lacked the proper supervision and proper assistance that he needed as an adult living in this world, which eventually led to his demise. So imagine the character that Dustin Hoffman played in the movie Rain Man. Now imagine that Rain Man does something wrong and the end result is a bullet to the head. You'd actually probably feel more sad for Rain Man than you would be upset about what he did because, again, mitigating circumstance. So Roman J. Israel Esquire is in your local movie theaters right now. So I'm not really going to recommend a big screen viewing for this film. I feel like you can watch this movie and get all the enjoyment available at the comfort of your home, from your couch, from your recliner, maybe your beanbag chair. I don't feel like you're going to lose anything by staying home to watch this if you decide to go that route. Because again, the ending doesn't really deliver or land the way I believe they intended it to land as a shocking ending, and the story gets a little bit muddled as it progresses from beginning to end. However, some of the positive redeeming factors in this film are the performances that Denzel and Colin give. Also, the way that they describe the happenings in the American legal system will definitely allow for some thought-provoking conversations once the film concludes. So for that reason, maybe check it out on Redbox for $1 once it's available for your home theater. Roman J. Israel Esquire is in your local movie theater right now, and it's getting 0 high fives from this guy. Hi, I'm Jeremy Brunansky, and you've just finished watching a movie review on Brunansky's Vlog. Along with the movie reviews and the weekly show, we also do the Certified Rad segments and the movie news breakdown, which you may want to check out. All right, everybody, we'll see you next Monday for a brand new episode of Brunansky's Vlog, Monday morning, 10 a.m. PST. See you there. Have a great week.